Today we're at Bear Creek, and this trail runs down to a road, a couple miles of climbing, and then into P2 to get back to the campground. And from what I understand, the first bit of this first trail is probably some of the more interesting stuff we'll see today. So let's see what it's like. Yeah, definitely different than yesterday. After all those super smooth, leaf covered, smooth trails yesterday, this is definitely a change. Not terribly rough, at least not compared to the stuff that I ride on the weekend. But I'm still exercising a lot of caution. This is the beginning of a pretty long day. Weather's really nice today. I think it's in the 40s right now. Supposed to get up to mid 60s by the time I'm done. So I'm glad I have my jacket right now. We'll probably be dumping that later. Yeah, that is interesting. A little bit of mud. That's giving me some hesitation here. I don't really know how these rocks are going to respond to these tires. They look pretty grippy actually. So probably could have been okay in there. And the roots are as slippery as any other place. Yep. Definitely some stuff here that you'd want to be familiar with. And this, some of this pine straw is actually a little deceiving because it's pretty slippery, I found already, just in that little bit of a corner. Yep. Definitely some spicy climbing through here. And that looks like the first 0.7 of Bear Creek. Definitely some good riding in there. And here's something I don't get to do often. The true creek crossing. And definitely a nice, just out in the woods, enjoying the weather. Getting those nature vibes, you know. Got through that little bit of uphill on this gravel. Looks like an old fire road. We got a little bit of down. A lot of slippery corners though because of that gravel. And of course, being an old service road, it needs the gravel to be useful and handle the erosion. But it does make you kind of wish there was more dirt on them so you could rail some of these corners. But it's still fun to kind of just cruise. Yeah, definitely getting some speed through there. All right, took my jacket off because it is definitely warming up once you start exerting. And checked my navigation point, and it looks like we're set to go around this gate and get into some pretty much downhill dirt. So looking forward to this. And other than those little bits of mud from drainage, the dirt here seems to be quite dry. Of course, there was all sun yesterday, but the 2-3 days leading up to that, they got a ton of rain here. Had tornado warnings coming through and thunderstorm warnings 2 days ago. But the dirt here seems to really have run off well and dried up, and this dirt here is a little bit more coarse, I think, than the stuff yesterday. So it's got a little bit more of a sense of grip to it, which adds a little bit of confidence even with some leaves, but not nearly as much as that trail yesterday. Stop for a little water break there. Let's see what we got around these next few corners. There we go. can really tell that I'm not used to riding unfamiliar trail. So I'm looking so close to the front of my bike, and I really need to be looking down trail. There are definitely some really jagged rocks in here that I'm trying very hard not to hit, and obviously I am not looking far enough ahead. But yeah, this trail is definitely more like what I was expecting to find up here. Not overly chunky, just enough to kind of make it fun. Well, the battery went out back there, and I just couldn't bring myself to stop. Just wonderful trail coming down through there. It was about a minute up where the camera cut out, and everything from there just continued to be the same kind of medium rocky tech. A lot of fun, pretty fast, especially if you let the brakes go. And then once I came down to this creek crossing, I figured it was a good time to stop and get some water. Switch the battery out, and creek crossings are cool. I remember the first time I came to ride up in this area, it was one of my favorite things about the ride. It's just not something you get very often unless you're up in this kind of mountain trail environment. And being that I'm usually riding shorter stuff, I don't get out this far into the wilderness, so to speak. So definitely don't have creek crossings at any of the shuttle parks I go to. Well, looks like the most direct route. Creeks are just deep enough that if you don't mind your feet, they will dip in a little bit. Doesn't bother me too much, but I know some people are really put out when their shoes get wet. So if that's you, be warned. And I'm guessing the creeks are at probably a medium. Yeah, I would guess, with all the rain we've had. I think they probably get a little deeper at times, but they're probably about medium level right now. This is cool. That one's so deep. That's a pretty sweet section back there. The dirt felt great. A little grippy. And very fast. it is nice having a little poppier bike for some of this, especially when there's not really a whole lot of features per se. Nice to be able to take advantage of what you can find. Next point on the map is a dirt parking lot, so just keep rolling. And there's the dirt parking lot. All right. Looks like a good spot to stop and get a little something to eat. Beautiful creek running down through this. Double check my map cues, see what's coming up next. Gotta say, that section of trail so far, that was some fantastic riding. Exactly what I was hoping to find out here in the North Georgia mountains. Well, this isn't trail, but it sure is pretty. After some climbing, some down, mostly down actually on that gravel road coming out of the parking lot for Bear Creek, it dumps you onto this pavement road for about 0.4 according to the map. Pretty house up there. And then road splits here. Got to pay for some elevation before we get to Pinhoti 2. And the gravel road climb with the occasional vehicle. Hey, look, more gravel road. And yes, the gravel has an end. This is the parking lot that's noted on the map. And this is the right turn onto Pinhoti 2, if I'm following my bearings correctly. And there's still some elevation to pay for. So I'll be grinding my way up this trail. I was just talking to a couple of guys that have ridden here before. They're off ahead of me. And they said this section kind of feels like it goes and goes. So I think I'm finally at the point on Pinhoti 2 where we're at the top, just based on what I can see that's left of the mountaintop here, which is not much, and I can see pretty clearly through the trees all the way around. So I think that's a pretty good indication that the climbing's done. We'll just have to roll it on from here and see. That climb was definitely long. Not as long as the gravel, but it just, we kind of climb and then flatten out for a little bit and then climb. So it kind of had a slow grind feel to it. Nothing overly steep. I was able to handle it all without really stopping or having to rest much, but definitely tired me out. And so far, this trail feels a lot more like the ones I did yesterday, Pinhoti 4 and 3, which I guess makes some sense since this is Pinhoti 2. It is nice though that most of the leaves have been washed away or ground out here, so you can definitely get a much clearer view of the trail surface than what 4 and 3 were giving me. Okay. Ooh. A little root hidden in the leaves there. Threw my tire sideways. I think it's just part of the reality when you're doing mileage and climbing with a higher tire pressure. You feel that stuff a lot more than I would running my low downhill pressure. Well, there's some burn there. Whew. And here's the tree that one of the other riders warned me about while I was doing the climb. He was coming the other way. Yep. That would be quite the problem if you didn't see it coming. Alright, good. I hope that means I don't have to worry about any more trees, or that rider probably would have mentioned them as well. So that's good. can really open it up in there. Yeah, I can definitely see this being a total blast once you get to know the trail a little bit, so that you can trust what's coming up. Okay, based on what the trees are showing me, we're back up to the top of the ridge here, and as far as I can see, the trail seems to be winding down along the left side of this valley. So, fingers crossed, we're done climbing for the day, at least until we get to the little bit on the gravel road to get back to the camp. And hopefully you can just enjoy the ride from here on out. Definitely roughened up for a little bit there. Oh, got surprised. Little burst here. All right. There's a nice section through there. Decent amount of chunk. But it looks like most of those corners would handle speed pretty well. And we're out. Man, can definitely hold a lot more speed through there, especially if the suspension is behaving well. I definitely need to loosen up my settings, because that chunk at that speed definitely showed that I'm running things a little bit too tight. But a lot of climb for that downhill. But the downhill was pretty nice. Not nearly as nice as the Bear Creek Trail, but I also didn't have to climb the Bear Creek Trail because of the shuttle I took up. So anyway, great day biking either way. Let's go see if we can find the campground. And finally, the last bit of gravel road down to the campground. If I can hold on to the turn, that is. Gravel is so slippery. One of my least favorite things to ride